Alright, I got my article from travelpulse.com. The name of the article is Storms Could Impact 40 Million Americans, Snarl Travel. It was published on November 11th, 2015 by Rich Tomselli. Alright, I think the piece that this article is related to is mostly profit and people. Even though in this the planet is affecting the profit and people, they're talking more about profit and people. This article is talking about a big storm that's cutting across the United States, canceling a bunch of flights and transportation for anybody in America. This is hurting the people by not letting other people travel to them, or even the tourists to travel to the people. This is hurting the people in a number of ways, mostly with the profit of not being able to get people to travel to them. Without getting people to be able to travel, they can't get them to spend money at their locations. Now in this article, it gives you a bunch of statistics and numbers on how many flights were delayed, canceled, and how many people were not getting to the destination quick enough. This is all gonna relate to the tourist having a bad trip. Maybe they'll remember the destination they were going to wasn't the best just because they got delayed or their flight was canceled and they couldn't get to the destination on time. They got a few days cut off their trip. This all leads to them not spending more money, or maybe not even returning, hurting the future profit of that destination. Now, even though the planet isn't being affected by any of this, I feel like it's still part of it since it's affecting everything. It's bringing a severe weather band that is bringing everything from snow, strong thunderstorms, strong wind, and tornadoes across the country. It started in the Rockies and it's going all the way to the East Coast, so it's shutting down everything across as it moves, not letting anything go through. It kind of cancels everybody from moving around. Now, even though this is a pretty frequent occurrence, I feel like when something as big as this happens where it shuts down the whole country, people might see their trip there taken as a negative, and that might hurt something in the future. Such as if you're trying to come ski early in the Rockies and you're from the East Coast and everything was shut down for a few days, maybe you decided not to go, and then next time you decide to try to go to the Rockies, you might just not decide to since it was such a hassle and you lost a bunch of money in this big storm that came by that might be happening again. I don't see this really affecting too many people's decisions to come. In the article, the numbers weren't too great. There's a lot of flights canceled, but I don't think it's gonna persuade many people to not come. Storms happen all the time. Sometimes some are worse, but I feel like people can get through it. It might ruin somebody's trip, but they might be willing to get on and try it again. I feel like in the future, if we do have recurring storms that are bigger, it might start to make people not travel. But for now, I feel like it's not going to do too much to any one destination's profit. Unless there's a constant storm in one place, I feel like one destination can't be singled out and can't lose too much profit and can't hurt the people that live there. So a quick question for the class to think about. Say you're taking not a big trip, but it's pretty costly, and you're ready to go. You got your first flight, and then you get stuck somewhere not in your hometown just because of a storm, but you're locked down for a few days, and then your trip gets ruined and a bunch of money doesn't get refunded. No, worst possible situation. Would this affect you trying to travel to that destination again, or a similar destination? Would you try to check the weather more frequently and change your trip patterns on the weather patterns? Just something to think about.